Really?
How come you always face that way and you're doing faces? Like,
Do you want me to face you? Is that the problem?
Just looks as though we're having, like I keep saying, just like
Having a chat.
having a chin wag.
Right. Blog number 5.
Yep.
On time this week.
Yeah.
So I think there were two main things we were going to talk about, weren't there?
Mm-hmm.
One was sort of employer branding and sort of what we're seeing in the market in that respect, and the one you were going to talk about.
Yeah, just the idea of output-based ways of measuring your teams, really. I think that's important to understand how do we measure teams now, remote working.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, about our TekCurious event we've got coming up, booked in, all online now, so we'll just give people an overview of that. So I think for me, one of the things I'm definitely seeing in the market, the more conversations we're having with clients as things evolving, are the need and the importance of having a solid employer brand and having a really good idea about how you continue to build that brand and the strategy behind it.
Yeah.
Because one of the things we keep hearing in the market, you're reading on the news, is there's loads of candidates on the market. It's really easy to recruit at the moment. I put an advert out and I get 100 plus applications for them. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are some jobs out there where that is 100% the case. And even in technology, some of the entry level roles, we're seeing that. But actually, if you were to look at some of the more senior roles and the more niche technical roles, I think, if anything, it's harder now to recruit those skills than what it was pre-COVID. Because I think twofold really. One, employers aren't wanting to let go of those niche sets of skills or their senior leaders, because at the moment both of those are critical. And two, those individuals, if they're in a permanent role, are not wanting to look at a new opportunity unless they have some really solid assurance around the role. And that's what leads me to employers need to be thinking really hard about their employer brand and not letting that slip. Whereas I think we're starting to see some organisations actually taking the foot off the gas on that, because again, well, that doesn't matter, it's really easy, Carl, we'll put an advert out and let's not worry about it. And I mean, mentioning no names, but again, we're speaking to a client at the moment who are looking for a senior role, who are working with a search firm, which normally you'd expect to be able to deliver on that. And they haven't seen anyone the calibre they're wanting. And that's not because I don't think those skill sets don't exist, but people just aren't wanting to move jobs if they're in those senior roles. So I think companies need to think long and hard about that and be probably being more active on that than what they were pre-COVID. Because if you're wanting the best people in the market, you've got to have a strategy behind how you're going to find those individuals. And then, as we said in last week's vlog, having a really good, robust plan around how you sell the company, how you sell the security of it. And I think then one of the big things I'm seeing when speaking to candidates is wanting to know that part, but then also working from home, what's the flex on that? But as you were talking about, I think actually the way in which candidates are expecting and wanting to work now, I think the 9 till 5 part is disappearing. You were having an interesting chat on that earlier.
Yeah, so there's companies that I'm speaking to that want to move away from that sort of 9 to 5 mentality of, clock in, clock out. They realise now that an organisation that's Bath-based, I was talking to, was saying, now we've moved to more of an output-based model. We're seeing there was a slight dip in output in terms of activity that people were doing, but that was because of the change, but now it's gone through the roof. And the reason for that is people work better in different times of the day. You might find people that the output is way higher between the hours of 6 in the morning to 11 or in the evening. So that we need to think about, companies need to start thinking about sort of more of a sort of objective and key results of sort of OKR kind of way of working, to actually say, well, not necessarily view everything in the office hours, but actually think about, by the end of the week, X needs to be done. And there was a guy that I was talking to that had lived in that kind of world of working, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, what comes out of your work stack between the office hours. And he's doing double the amount of work that he was doing because he's been given freedom to say, look, this is what you need to do by the end of the week, or this is what you need to do by the end of the month. Don't really care when you do it, just get it done. And you'll find that people work, they might work the odd bit on the weekend because they just want to get something done. So it's a personal drive to want to do that.
Yeah.
And if people are given the freedom, they will go ahead and do it. And it is interesting talking about the branding. I think companies at this stage, and not throwing companies under the bus or anything, but they can't afford to be lazy in terms of their brand and looking at ways of working and looking at the kind of flexibility of working, because people, if they're being made redundant or if they're on furlough, as well as people that are in work, are not going to trying to not make the same mistakes. So they will identify and look for companies that have the right, the right model of working. It's really important to them. So that was quite important to get that across today, that companies are embracing that now. And a lot more companies need to be looking that way as well.
I think that leads nicely on to our TekCurious session on the 8th of September at 3:30. It's all on our website for you to get registered. But essentially, we're talking about psychological safety, and actually, now we've got more of these teams working remotely, not having 9 till 5, is the culture a really important thing. So we've got two speakers, we've got Abigail Riley and Rob Fletcher. Abigail's come from an OD directorship background, just completed a degree as well on that, related to that topic. And they're just be sharing their thoughts, some of the lessons that she's learned through going through a degree, looking at some of the different organisations and how they're doing and how they approach that. So fingers crossed that should be tying really nicely to what we're seeing, and maybe give some of our clients and candidates that we work with some different perspective on what they need to be doing within that space.
Yeah, it was fascinating. You and I spoke to her, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago when we were setting this up. It was just very interesting to understand how organisations are going to maybe sort of tailor their cultural approach to embrace remote workers. I was playing devil's advocate saying, well, what's the point in culture? There's no need for it. If someone's up in, north of England, are they really interested in understanding how a company goes about culture? So she'll have some really interesting things to say about that, which will be good.
Good. Right, 7 minutes. We nearly did 5. We're getting closer each time.